Good people YouTube, what's up? I am the Watch Idiot and welcome to my channel. And this is my very first video over here and I'm really excited to be doing that, get the ball rolling. And I've got a lot of great videos in the pipeline right now. Different watch reviews from all different price points, lots of watch topics, and some of the watches that are going to be coming up real soon are like the Laurier Hydra Series 2, the Zelos, as I learned, the Zelos Swordfish 40mm, probably the Citizen Pro Master Diver, Olek & Weiss, Omega, Tudor, Seiko, which is gonna be big, Grand Seiko, all over the board. So hopefully that all sounds good to you guys. And hit the like button if that all sounds good to you. Just take a second, just go ahead and just do it right now. Just go ahead. And I would say go ahead and subscribe, but this is my very first video and you haven't seen anything from me, so can't ask you to do that. But go ahead and watch the entire video. See what you think. If you like what you see, if you like the watch, you like what's going to be coming up, then yeah, go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And when you do subscribe, just real quick, just drop a comment down below saying that I subscribed, because I want to be able to start to talk to you guys and get to know this new community that we're going to be a part of right now. Yeah, if that sounds good to you, let's do it. Okay, so for my first ever review, I'm going to be doing the Tissot PRX, and this one actually I wasn't planning on doing first, but the moment I saw it getting released, it just hit me. It just hit me because the case and the bracelet looked so good, and I kind of at that point knew that I needed to have it. So I managed to get one, and I have it. I've been wearing it for a while now, and it's so close to being good, but there are some problems with it. Let's just get into it right now. Okay, so right before we get into the details, just a little bit of context on the watch. The first PRX was released in 1978, and it was actually really similar to this one, pretty much in every way. I think it was just a little bit smaller. So this watch definitely has some pedigree. Granted that it does look a little bit like a oyster quartz, but that's not that well known of a watch, so we're gonna give that a pass on that. But yeah, let's just get some dimensions and specs out. And this is a 100 meters water resistant. It does not have a screw down crown over here, and which is okay, because I mean in the end this watch isn't really going to be used to actually do water sports or anything actually active. Day-to-day splashes obviously is going to be perfectly fine, and even if you do take it in the water, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure that the gaskets provided by Tissot are going to be good quality. Okay, so first off, let's get the width. Case diameter 40 millimeters, just like that, just as they said. And the lug to lug is a bit weird because technically this end link over here is removable. Let's just do it both ways. The first way around, it's 52, pretty much 52 millimeters. So it is big, but it does curve down quite a bit, as you can see over here. Oh, focus, come on. But it does curve down quite a bit, so it's not really going to be too much of an issue for smaller wrists. Let's look at the dial, because this watch is pretty much, no, I wouldn't say all dial, but I mean we're dealing with a watch that wears more like a 40, 41, and 37 millimeter dial. So, well, including the bezel, and the actual dial itself is about 33, 32. And that is pretty big for a 40 millimeter watch. It's gonna wear a little bit bigger, and obviously the lug width doesn't really have a lug width, but we're gonna go just effectively where the bracelet starts, which is right about here, and that's 27 millimeters. So it definitely has quite a lot of wrist presence when you're wearing it. Just be aware of that. It doesn't wear as small as I would have hoped. Would have been really nice to have this in 36 millimeters, but it is what it is. The case thickness, it's pretty nice actually. 11, oh, no, that's not 11 millimeters. Okay, there it is. 10.5 millimeters. So visually, the case back is actually quite prominent. So let's take a look at how big the mid case is 5 millimeters, 5 millimeter for the mid case. So that's all that matters with this watch, is that it wears thin and wears really nice on the wrist, despite it being a little bit bigger than what I would have expected. Okay, and next up we have the movement. Let's just get that out of the way. It is a quartz movement, and a lot of people are absolutely going to hate the fact that it is quartz, but honestly, I mean, for $375 and for what it is, I think it's a it's a pretty great choice, and it's specifically the ETA F06.115. So as an end-of-life indicator, which basically means that once when the battery is on its last legs, the seconds hand is going to be taking 2-second jumps or 5-second jumps, and that'll just let you know that it's time to get that battery changed. So that's a nice feature. And the reason why I'm okay with it being quartz comes down to just the way that I personally am. So I'm a dive watch guy, and I pretty much wear dive watches or watches with some sort of a timing capability, whether it's just any sort of a rotatable bezel or chronograph, something like that. I always have that. So watches like this that are just a three-hander with nothing else really don't get that much wrist time. So it's nice for me to have this in the watch box, and 3 months from now I can just pick it up just because I feel like wearing it, and it'll be keeping time perfectly, and it'll be running. That's really the main thing. It's going to be running. I don't have to go through the entire time setting process, because I'm really particular when it comes to that, just because I want to have it absolutely perfectly synchronized. So if anyone is going to be wearing this as an occasional watch, I think that quartz is definitely a good choice for that. The one thing that does bother me quite a bit is that let me see if I got the angle right over here. Yeah, you can tell right over there. The seconds hand doesn't line up with the markers. That's a huge fault of this Tissot, because I'll admit it bothers me a lot. I mean, I'm used to my other quartz being Seiko Tuna. That one absolutely lines up right on the dot, and then my Grand Seiko quartz. Yes, BGT 241, 25th anniversary, the 5 seconds a year watch, and of course that one lines up absolutely perfectly. So being used to those watches, and it bothers me, but I feel like maybe I'll be able to get past it, just because it is a pretty sweet watch. As for the case, so it's pretty amazing. I mean, the physical case itself, I mean, it's brushed really well. I mean, you can see just the way that it plays with the light, especially on this very front brush surface over here. I mean, it's really well done, and also the chamfer that runs along the tops of the lug and the sides of the case on either side. The sharpness, so nice. It's not rounded off weirdly. Same thing with that chamfer over there. It's not cheaply rounded off. I love the look of it, just because it does give me a little bit of the original the Vacheron Overseas, the 222. Gives me some of those vibes, a little bit of Timex Q vibes as well, which is on the other end of the spectrum, but both are really good vibes to have as far as the watch is concerned. And I'm just glad that it isn't a ripoff of a Royal Oak. So happy days, happy days. As for the dial, it's a really nice blue. It's not super saturated, but it's also not super dark, so you do get the blue hues pretty much all the time, but it does look really good. It's a muted blue, and I think that's about perfect for this kind of watch. The other two options were the black sunburst dial, which obviously looks great. There's no doubt about that. And there's also a silver dial with gilt indices. And honestly, looking back, that would probably be the second choice to this watch. But I just wanted to get this blue dial. It's pretty classic, and also I've been kind of on a blue watch dial kick. So I just wanted to continue that, and actually probably compare this to some of the other watches that I have coming up. What would have been really cool is if they finished the dial the way they finished the dial on the silver dial, which is vertical brushing, because that's not really seen that often, and it's a really cool detail. I think that really could have added a lot of visual interest, something that you really don't see that often. Next is the date window, and obviously there's going to be people who hate it, and some people who are going to, well, I mean, I don't know how many people can actually love this particular date window. Conceptually, I love the idea of a no date watch. My Speedmaster I love, my Tudor Black Bay 58 blue, I really like it without the date, but you know, it is actually really useful to have the date. But the problem that I have with this particular date window is that it's kind of an afterthought. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, and also it's a white date window with black writing. So that's obviously going to stick out a little bit more. It doesn't have any sort of window around it. I always think that if you're going to have a date window, just own the date window, and I respect that. You know, it is what it is, but it would have been nice if it was either color match, or if it had a date window, or obviously if it was at 6. That would be absolutely perfect. Oh, and then also another thing is that the original PRX from 1978 had a steel silver oh my god, what's happening? Little window around it. Okay, so the hands and indices over here, and the indices are pretty simple. It's you know, stick indices all the way through, and at the 12 it has a double marker, which is always nice. I like it when the either at the very least the 12 or if the cardinal indices have something special about them, and this one indeed does. And the lume inside of it, I mean, you can see it a little bit over there. It's just little slivers of lume on the indices, and a double sliver on the 12, and you know, just I mean, it's pretty much non-existent. If you want a lume monster, you get something Seiko. As for the hands, as you saw before, oh, it's now just covered up a little bit over there, but it's you know, baton hands, and you can see over here that it actually has you know, quite a few facets to it, so it's not just one flat piece, which is really nice, and I really appreciate that detail. Okay, so now it is time for the bracelet. So you've been looking at it quite a bit, and I'm going to include some you know, videos of it on my wrist. It's awesome. I mean, it looks and feels great. I mean, just look at the way that it plays with the light. I mean, I mean, yeah. I mean, this bracelet and this case, this is the reason why you're going to get this watch. And it does live up to the hype. I mean, just look at the finishing on it. And yes, the bracelet isn't finished quite at the same standard as the case is, but it still doesn't look cheap or anything like that. And I just love the fact that when you give it oh, you can see it a little bit over here. When you give it a little bit of a wrist roll, it glimmers and shimmers, you know, just like a Royal Oak. I mean, this just sitting in the car, watching it glimmer on the wrist. I mean, that's usually where I get a good feel of the bracelet. And the cool thing about it is that the insides of these links is actually polished, so that adds a really nice extra dimension to this bracelet, because these are all single links. It's not 3 pieces per link, so it could have easily been a bit bland or a bit boring if it was just all purely brushed. It would have looked a little bit static. So having that little bit of a polish right over there does add a lot to this bracelet and the overall feel of the watch. Yeah, as I said, fully articulating, and God, one thing that I absolutely love doing for any fully articulating bracelet, just look at that. I mean, that always just feels really good. Just do that over there, and oh boy. And just imagine this slinking on your wrist. I mean, it just falls so nicely on the wrist. It's super comfortable. I mean, another cliche is that it wraps around your wrist beautifully. So the cliches are definitely valid in this particular case. Let's get into the not so great part of it. It's these really dumb end links. The fact that they look like an actual link, it makes it look like the bracelet just juts out really weird. I mean, you can see it right over here. And also the more irritating thing is that, like, when I wear it on my wrist, it just ruins the flow of the watch, because this is such a nicely articulating bracelet, but when I do wear it, it just doesn't have the right flow. And I wish that they just put in normal end link, or just had the bracelet start right from the start. And that's the way that the Oyster Quartz did it. That's the way that the original PRX did it. So it's not as if it's something that's impossible. Okay, we're just gonna flip over to the back real quick. And the other weird part of this watch is yes, you can see it over here. It has quick release spring bars, and I absolutely love quick release spring bars, especially on bracelets. You know, that is the hill I will die on. I think every single manufacturer should have these quick release bracelets, but over here, why? But why though? I mean, why? I mean, these are tiny little quick little spring bars, and yes, obviously, you know, you're going to be thinking that this is going to be done because Tissot is going to have their own straps coming out, but they haven't announced anything, so it's not as if you know, because at this point, as far as we know, as far as the information goes, this is just here just for the sake of it. Another random thing about this watch is that it's a normal 316L steel. It's you know, just the way it is for any other watch, but it looks like it scratches really quite easily because I baby my watches like no other. I mean, maybe to a fault, honestly. This one I've been wearing, I've worn quite a bit, I guess, but not nearly enough that there would be as many scratches on this as there are right here. So let me just focus in over here. So yeah, you can, yeah. Okay, so come on, focus. There it is. Okay, so there's one scratch over here. There's another scratch right over there. There's one scratch that came up on the bracelet. Yes, they're really small scratches, but it really shouldn't have happened. I always keep this on a little watch stand, but look at that. There's already scratches on the case back. So keep that in mind if that's something that bothers you. It does scratch really easily. Not the end of the world, but yeah, just something to note. And I think that just about takes care of all this over here. So I'm just gonna give my final thoughts over here. Let's look at my face. So just to wrap things up over here, main question is, why did I get it and why would someone want to get it? And first and main reason is that it just looks awesome. I mean, the case and the bracelet, both of them together, you know, give an experience unlike pretty much any other watch around this price point. I mean, it manages to get the Genta Royal Oak vibes without just being a knockoff of the Royal Oak, and still has its own unique vibe to it, and that's something that was really cool. And honestly, that's what watches are all about. If you aren't buying a watch that makes you feel good when you look at it, I think you're getting the wrong watch. The other reason is that it is quartz. Believe it or not, that is actually a big reason for me, as I explained, just because of my wearing habits. I know I'm not going to be wearing this watch all that much, so to have a watch that's quartz that I can just pick up and I can just wear it whenever I want, whether it's a week in between, 1 month, 2 months, however many months in between, and if I just want to wear it, put it on my wrist, don't have to go through the entire time and debt saving process, because that takes me a long time, because I'm very, very particular about it, and because of the... And finally, can I recommend the watch to whoever's watching? So, I mean, I can recommend the watch, but you just have to be aware of the issues that it comes with, because those are the kind of issues that can really bother some people, especially here in the watch community, who are really detail oriented, like myself, and things like the matte looking sunburst dial, the stupid end links, which are still stupid. Also the super scratchable steel, and the misaligned seconds hand. I mean, okay. So when you know that all those exist and you still really like it, then absolutely go for it. I can definitely recommend it, because those things all do irritate me, but the overall experience of it, the way that it plays with it, like the way it wears on the wrist, all those put together, and especially at $375, I can definitely recommend it, with an asterisk. That's not in focus. And so yeah, I think that just about does it. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. I mean, am I absolutely insane for thinking this incredible watch has got those problems, and that those problems could potentially be a deal breaker even though they're kind of small? Or do you completely agree with me and think that a company like Tissot really shouldn't be having these issues with this watch? Once again, go ahead and just like the video. Just do it. It literally takes half a second, and because it does help me a lot, and does take you guys half a second. So please just do it. And finally, please do subscribe if you enjoyed this entire video, enjoyed the watch. and are looking forward to the other watches that I'm going to be reviewing. You know, I mentioned the Laurier High Series 2 is going to be coming up soon. The Zelos is for the 40mm Swordfish. There's going to be a bunch of Seikos, Grand Seikos Tudor, Omega, watches of all sorts of price points over here. So if that all sounds good to you guys, hit that subscribe button. And when you do that, just write me a comment down at the bottom saying I subscribe, because I just want to start. I want to start to get to know you guys and talk to you guys. You know, now that we're going to be all part of this new community. So yeah, I think that just about wraps it up from the Watch Idiot. So I'll see you guys in the next one.